Hello everybody, welcome to Logan's Chess Corner. Today we're going to be learning about something called notation. Now, notation, it has something to do with these letters and numbers. So I'll teach you how. So, remember files and remember ranks? Yeah, from the very first lecture, think back. It's going to be a lot from the first lecture about files and ranks. So, first we need to know how, when you move the pieces, well, there's little sheets, there's sheets like these that you use to write down your notation. So, let's talk. So this square, it will be on the E file and the fourth rank. Okay, so we call this square E4 because it's on the E file and the fourth rank. So you would write down, so now let's talk about moving pieces. So if a pawn was on D2 and it moved to D3, you would write down, for pawns, you would just write down the square that it moved to, D3. Got that? Now, we'll do knights. Knights, even though they start with a K, you don't, okay, so knights. Now, for all the other pieces, you put the starting letter of their piece, except for knights, you put in instead of K, because the king would be K. So if the knight were to move to E4, you would write capital N, E4. Just like right there. Now, we'll do bishops. Now, bishops, if I move this bishop to A6, you would write a capital B, write an A, and then a 6. Just like I did here. Now, we'll do rook. So, if I were to move the rook from D to D6, then you would write capital R, D6. Just like I did there. Now, we'll do queen. So the queen, if I were to move it to H6, I would write capital Q, H6. Just like this. Now we'll do the king. The king, you have to write K. You write K. If you want to move it to E2, you write K, E2. Just like this. Now, we'll learn about what symbols you do for capturing. Okay, so we'll start out with the pawn. If this pawn wanted to take the pawn on C3, you would write, so you would write the file that your pawn is on. So that would be D. And then you would write a little X, and then write the square your opponent's pawn that you want to take is on, or any other piece that you want to take is on. In this case, C3. So it's D, X, C3. Now let's do knights. Now, knights. If this knight wanted to take the rook here, you would write capital N, little x, and then you would write the square that the piece that the knight would want to take it on is, same as the pawn, is C4. So knight takes c4. Now we'll do bishop. So for taking the rook, the bishop will do b, little x, then do b4. And then you would take it. See? So you always write the square of the piece you want to capture is on, after the piece is first letter and a little x. So now let's do a rook. And let's put a queen. So if the rook wanted to take the queen, we would write r, then you do a little x, then you do d5, because the queen is on the d5 square. As you can see right there, rook takes d5. Now let's do the queen. So the queen will take the knight. So you write a q, x, then you write d5. As you can see right there. Now let's do this. What do you write down if the rook wanted to take this pawn? That's right. You would write capital R, X, the square that the pawn's on, which is d5. Rook takes d5. Correct answer. Let's do one more quiz problem before we'll move on to the next symbol. Okay. What would you write down if the knight wanted to take this pawn? We would write down in x, e3. Very good. Okay, now let's move on to our next symbol. Now, this symbol is not required to write, but you will see it sometimes. It's a plus after a move. It's like that little symbol, plus, after a move. And that symbol that move was check. You don't, like I said, you don't have to do it all the time, but it's good too. I don't myself, but you can do it if you want to. Now the next symbol, it's real good to write. It's the checkmate symbol. See there? It's like that little grid board. Now, at the end of your move, if it's checkmate, you write that at the end of your move. Just like with the plus, except it'll be checkmate. Now, this one you're not required to write either. Lots of people don't. I don't myself. It's an EP. Remember a few lectures ago about en passant? This stands for en passant. Like if your pawn takes another pawn, you could write EP after it. Well, that's the last symbol. Hope you had a fun time enjoying notation. Next lecture, we're going to dive into forks a little more deeply. Till then, this is Logan, signing off.